Hello, my friends. Today is May the 29th, and this is a birthday reading for you if this is your birth date. This is to cover the year to follow. It's a 4 card pull, a general energy card for the year, a challenge you might face this year, an action you can take to stay in balance, and an outcome or synopsis card. I do psychic readings and I do healing work. Check out my credits. And I do work over the internet. I do work out of my business in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Blessed be. This is the general energy card of the year. It is the Starborn. And the Starborn wishes to remind us, remind you in particular, that you are the Starborn, that from you come from another land, you come from another world, as we all do. And to remember that world is to remember the bliss of that world, and to remember the peace of that world, and to remember the connection in that world that is our original home, that is our original creation, that is our original understanding of ourselves that we still carry. We are the magic of the stars. We are the sparkle of the stars. We are the magnificence of the stars. The Starborn, I think, recognize that spark within themselves and transmit that understanding to other people just by the charisma that you carry, just by the character that you carry, just by the oomph for life that you carry, and the power of your love, and the power of your truth, and the power of your dynamism. You know, there's something magical about people who remember that they're the Starborn. Magic things happen to them. Things that they put out and call to them come to them much more easily because they trust the connection. They don't put a lot of barriers. You don't put a lot of barriers in front of you. You don't put a lot of negatives into your path. But you do have some. You're human. And our process is always to remember from our human place that we are starborn, that we are, seated by the stars, that all the elements they believe now came in on meteorites for the growing cocktail that created us in a physical form on this Mother Earth, that gave us form. And we are this spirit from everything coalescing into this oomph of being here on this magnificent plane. And we are here to experience what it means to be in this form on this earth, coming out of this earth, dancing upon this earth, returning to this earth. And yet what returns, not our spirit, but our earth body. And so the vehicle of our spirit comes down and creates us from this great mother. And we go back to the next star, to the next place, to the next understanding when we transcend this life. And to remember that is to be very powerful in a lot of different ways, depending on what your reading is and what your particular needs are. Here is your particular challenge, May 29th, the star. Well, it's their challenge is to remember that you are of the stars, and to trust in your timing, trust that you're doing the right thing at the right time in the right place, to trust there's some particular pattern that you're here and only you can create, and only you can do as a necessary part of this work upon this earth right now for its enlightenment, for the enlightenment of all beings, for the enlightenment of humanity. This, is an understanding, I think, that says, there is purpose, there is a reason, but we each have to find out our own reason. We each have to find out our own authenticity. We each have to remember that we are magical beings and connected to spirit. And when we find that magic, when we remember that magic that's within us, when we remember that we are the starborn, then do we shine. Then do we shine. So your challenge is to shine right now. This year, there's something that makes you, I think, forget or question your connection to the sacred, question your connection to doing the right thing at the right time, at the right moment. All of those are, viable human things that need to be looked at. But the star-born, I think, go with it in a great more ease, with a great more peace, and a great more understanding that the star card is really about the mystery. It's about experience something mystical and miraculous that changes our mind and opens us up and helps us to remember. What's your challenge? To be open to the mystery of life and the magic of life that can come in. when you whether you are ready for it or want it or not, it's like the magic will happen. What is needed will happen. The star seed will happen. The pattern will happen, and you have the ability to go with it or to come up against it with whatever you need to work through. And that is your challenge, and that is the way you find your authenticity. So don't avoid, I think, your challenge is to, not believe and to not, I think, go with the flow on some levels. But, the star says, go with the flow, feel the magic, go through it without knowing the right words, go through it without understanding what it is that you're experiencing. Just remember that it's a star bliss, it's a star power, it's a star connection that's moving through you and reminding you. So here is your action to take porcupine. Lots of attributes of porcupine. I love the sense of the innocence of porcupine. They'll put their belly open and be rubbed and be very gentle and be very affectionate with their family, with their friends, with those things they feel safe around, with those beings, with humans. But when they're afraid, or when they know that they need to put up some kind of protection, they put up those wonderful porcupine quills. So this is about remembering that you can be at peace and you can be vulnerable, and if you need to protect yourself, you can pull up your porcupine quills to defend yourself. But otherwise, most of the time, you can be very at peace and very open and very vulnerable and very giving and receiving and very showing of your emotions. But you'll know in the right moment, the star moment, what says, protect myself, put up my barriers, keep myself to myself right now, because I don't want to share what I'm sharing with someone else. It's just an awareness, and it's not about what somebody else might do. It's just about you remembering that you have the sense of how to keep peace in your world. Just like the star card. When you relax into the star card, there's a bliss or a peace that goes through you, and you may not be able to define it again, but you'll feel it and you'll understand it on the deepest of levels, because it is the star-born energy within you that is willing to have this experience and go forward with a sense of delight and a sense of wonder and a sense of magic and a sense of truth and a sense of love and compassion. And in all that workings, there's a sense of bliss. I think that the star cards, the star people carry, the star card says for us to remember that we can be in bliss most of the time, and when we need to really not be in bliss, we'll be called to punch through something that usually is in our psyche, stopping us. So, and that is the path of enlightenment. That is the path forward to finding your truth, your connection to spirit, to shedding, the snake here, the Kundalini energy of the chakra system, the Hindu chakra system that says, we are asleep at the root, and as we grow in consciousness, we start to leave behind our, the need for identity, and that doesn't have any room for growth, and the need for our wants to be met that doesn't have any sense of sharing, and the need for our safety to occur, and regardless of somebody else's safety. And we move into our heart, and we sense a connection with the divine, with somebody else, or with something else, or with some other energy, and understand we want to merge, and that we are part of the mergence, and we are part of the love, and we are part of the joy of connection, and we rise higher, and we find our truth, and we find our voice, and we find our creativity, and we find our co-creativity of the magic of the universe outside of ourselves. We remember the star. We remember the star light that comes in and shines through our eyes and shines through our voice and comes through our hands and creates the magic and the love that we need to create, and dances more lightly, because we don't buy into that we're just a solid object of this earth that's gonna die and we need to be miserable. We don't. Remember your star roots. Remember your star connection. Remember your brightness, and shine, baby, shine. Blessed be.